That August afternoon in 1906, Mr. Du Bois rose to be heard by an audience and the world. Times were bad those days for black and yellow people in America. Random murder and race riots were in Atlanta, and President Theodore Roosevelt falsely blamed a vicious brawl in Brownsville, Texas, on a highly decorated unit of black army men. And things were getting even worse. Booker T. Washington and his celebrated Tuskegee Institute stressed skills and self-help for those who needed them. But now, in these times, the urge to fight back, to speak out for human rights, weighed heavily upon this intensely shy, incredibly bright man, Mr. W.E.B. Du Bois. It was these conditions that brought him to this historic moment in American history. That Sunday, August 19th, 1906, at Storer College in Harpers Ferry, marked W.E.B. Du Bois' debut as a speaker for the souls of black folk, which is the name of his great work. You could say that the NAACP, which was Du Bois' brainchild, and the legendary body that made many of our laws fair to all, was born that afternoon on a hilltop in Harpers Ferry. This was the very same site that President Thomas Jefferson once gazed and wrote about with wholehearted awe. The 29 people of this group that first met 1 year before in Niagara Falls had been blackballed there by American hotels. And through a fierce campaign by the unsympathetic black leader Booker T. Washington, they were also ignored by the editors of all of the United States' major newspapers, except for two. Perhaps the rivalry between Du Bois and Booker T. Washington was personal as well as philosophical. That is, a difference of opinion between a West Virginia-born country boy who stressed self-reliance and training, and a New England-born, Harvard-educated, European-educated sophisticate who preferred the pen of polemics over the sickle and spade. But this second meeting at Harpers Ferry in August of 1906, of what was now called the Niagara Movement, had magic and inspiration on its side, and it would not fail. It was John Brown's birthday, and this was the hallowed place where the voice for the enslaved rang true and prophetically in 1859. William Monroe Trotter, who was once jailed as a firebrand in Boston for making people mad and violent at a rally, sensed the implications and the rightness of this moment, and he brought with him a piece of John Brown's home in Springfield, Massachusetts. And this time, this meeting, the press was there in strength, led by the Radcliffe graduate and long-term Du Bois admirer, Mary Ovington, who was covering the event for the New York Evening Post. Her presence, ironically, also shot down an edict at the first meeting that men and women meet separately. The trains unloaded guests at the bottom of the hill at Harpers Ferry after a short ramble from the District of Columbia, and carriages then took them up the long, steep hill to Storer College and its dormitories. Among some of the attendants, besides Mr. Trotter, was Freeman Henry M. Murray, a self-educated man from Cleveland, Ohio, who now managed and co-owned his own printing company in the District of Columbia. Like Trotter and Ovington, he was a devout Du Bois loyalist. There was also Lafayette Hersha, who left the superintendency of Atlanta's segregated schools in the 1890s to take up a clerical position in the Department of Interior in Washington, D.C. He was well aware that his alliance that day with Du Bois could lose him his job, a measure of Booker T. Washington's power to punish any rival. Murray called the 60 to 70 people there to order. Henry T. MacDonald, store's president, welcomed the body. He had given these innovators a place on American soil to have their momentous meeting. Then J.R. Clifford, who represented West Virginia in this new movement, spoke to the body. Symbolism was in the air, the moist, dewy, sometimes hot August air of Harpers Ferry.